नमस्कार। दिल से निवान्या आर्ट्स की एक छोटी सी कोशिश, एक प्रयास कि हम कुछ ऐसी महिलाओं की कहानियां आप तक लाएं जिन्होंने अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ बनाया है, कुछ परे, कुछ अलग, दूसरों की जिंदगी को छुआ। और आज मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है मिलवाते हुए स्मृति सिंह से। स्मृति जी, आपको अगर मैं देखती हूँ तो आप जिस संस्था की फाउंडर हैं, फेथ, एक वाकई मतलब बहुत सही नाम दिया, क्योंकि शायद ये यही था, एक लीप ऑफ फेथ जो आपने काम शुरू करा। फेथ क्या है?
Faith is a very small organization. It works for children with antiretroviral therapy.
जिनको हम लोग आम जन की भाषा में कहते हैं कि HIV पॉजिटिव है।
My father used to say that God has given us enough, and when you grow up, live your life meaningful and give back to the society. So I grew up with those moral values, and luckily I was married in a very beautiful family where my husband, my mother-in-law, everyone, in fact all my brother-in-laws, everyone was very supportive, open and very welcoming to the idea.
Where did this idea come from? You know, why a home? Why for children? There's so many other ways to give back to society.
So while I was thinking that I want to do something for the society, something for this, and I had no idea how to start, from where to start. So I just started because whenever I used to travel, I used to see a lot of children in the railway, even in the bogies, shoe polishing, and they're trying to act. And they used to do some funny acts to make some kind of a money, and they used to attract crowd and all that. So I thought, let me start from there only. So I started going to the railway station. I used to just sit at the platform, and then slowly 1, 2, 3, 4, and there were a lot of children started coming there, and I used to play games. I used to take some games for them. Then I started taking some drawing books. So at the platform itself, I used to do little drawing, and I used to tell them some stories, because I grew up with a lot of, I would say that my grandmother used to tell us a lot of stories. So we grew up that way. So I thought I used to tell them also stories and all that. And we used to laugh and joke, and then all the emotions used to come out. They started crying. Then slowly they used to share all the issues, like family issues and all that. Then I started taking some food for them, cooked food from home. We used to all sit and eat, and then after some time I rented out a room there. Before renting out room, I had a little area right at the back of railway station, and then I got it a little barbed wiring there, and I used to sit and started teaching them and all that. And then I realized that there was a little local basti also there, and so a lot of children used to come from the basti itself. And then I thought that because monsoons were approaching and I needed little shade and all, so then my husband helped me out. He put some guy across, and then he helped me to rent a room. Out there I found one child who was very unwell. And he had some wound here, and the wound was always bleeding. So I thought that since everything is seems to be quite well, I should take them to a hospital visit once and get all their health checkup done. So out there, this kid was diagnosed as HIV. Next day when I went back, entire day the kid was in my mind and all that. Then when I went back, and I really don't know how all those people came to know, maybe because the other children were also with me and all that. So there was a lot of stigma. I realized that everyone started keeping away from that kid, and no one wanted to be. So then I thought, I think God wants me to take up this project.
भगवान आपको खुद वहाँ लेकर आया और बताया कि ये देख स्मृति, ये करना है तेरे को। वो एक इशारा होता है, आप समझे भी, लेकिन उसके बाद कॉन्क्रीट स्टेप्स क्या किए, फिर कैसे सोचना शुरू किया कि अब क्या करना है?
फिर एक्चुअली कुछ समझ में नहीं आया कि अगर होम स्टार्ट करूँ मैं HIV, तो बच्चे कहाँ से आएंगे, क्या होगा. बट जैसे क्योंकि भगवान ने ही रास्ता दिखाया था, तो भगवान ही मिलाता गया. तो आई मेट someone who was director of FXB, Dr. Gupta. So then he guided me. He said ki you should get in touch with RSEC. So I went to RSEC in a very happy mood with a lot of flowers and chocolates and all that, not knowing what kind of a government organization it is or what. I just went and I met who was a project director there, Dr. M.L. Jain. So he was very kind, very supportive, I would say. He was the one who guided me in a proper way. First, he was very happy that I have come for a help. I mean, I have come to say that I want to make a home and where I can get the children from. So he said, no one has come for such kind of this thing. Normally people come either for a money or for some issues like. So then he said I'll circulate the letters in the SMS hospital and the hospitals. So he wrote a letter to all the hospitals that whoever needs a support, the child who requires any kind of a home care can be sent to faith.
पहला बच्चा याद है कौन आया था, कैसे आया था, क्या किया?
First child was Shahrukh and Gulfasa. I started home for only HIV positive children I wanted to keep. The parents said that both children are positive and they wanted to leave both the children with me. But then later on I came to know that the girl, Gulfaza, wasn't HIV positive, only it was Shahrukh who was HIV positive. Because when I started taking them for the treatment and
दोनों रहे लेकिन आपके पास?
दोनों रहे.
और माँ बाप का क्या रोल रहता है उसके बाद? आप तक छोड़ के चले जाते हैं या आते रहते हैं? क्या रोल रहता है?
When I started in 2006, there was a lot of different situation. I mean, parents just छोड़ के चले जाते थे. They didn't wanted to come in.
आज जो इतने सारे लोग जो हमारा को सुन रहे हैं, हमारे और आपके एक एक दो दो बच्चे हैं, तो सबके ऐसे सर यूँ हो जाती है हालत कि यार ये बच्चे और ये समर कैंप लगा लो और स्कूल कब शुरू होगा. क्योंकि बच्चों का आपकी वाली बात है, इतने बच्चों का रहना, खाना पीना, उनकी देखभाल, उनका हेल्थ, इनकी न्यूट्रिशन अलग होती होगी और फिर वो केयर के लिए लोगों को ढूंढना और प्लस वो पूरा का पूरा एक सिग्मा कि भी हम केयर के लिए आप किसको ढूंढोगे, नॉर्मल वर्कर्स को ढूंढना बहुत मुश्किल है. तो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या था इस सब में?
House rent itself was a challenge. Then staff was a big challenge. But initially staff was not that big challenge because I was taking HIV positive women only. Sometimes things get opposite. What you think is not the way really. So later on I decided not to have HIV women as a staff and more routine one. And there was a time when all my little children got very sick. Because when they come, they are very sick. And then they have a lot of different OI infections like tuberculosis, like scabies and all. And also like what we are seeing now, this monkeypox, which my children already had that. But it was named something different then. And it was exactly like what monkeypox is going on right now. So that time it was most toughest period because then what happens, scabies, because it spreads. So all your staff leaves you because they get so frightened. So I used to go myself, wear gloves, wash clothes of children, boil them, put a lot of Dettol, dry them. And thankfully that time I had a wonderful team of volunteers. So young children from school and colleges, they were giving voluntary service to me. So it was me and my volunteers, we did everything for children, took cooked food from home. And of course from day one, Timmy from Clark Samir has been supporting for lunch. So at least lunch was not a worry for me because I was getting food from there.
But I think a very strong statement would have been made by your own personal presence, Smriti. मतलब कि ये नहीं कि भी हम अपने घरों में बैठ के कह रहे हैं भैया ये ऐसे कर लो वैसे कर लो ये ऐसे होना चाहिए. You were right there.
Yeah, that really that changed.
You were right there.
Yeah, that was a big this thing because then the children used to say, "Ki see, she's been doing from past so many years, she hasn't got the infection." And then, but still there were few parents, they were very...
I can imagine, you know, I can imagine. और आपकी अपनी फैमिली क्या सबने 100% सपोर्ट करा?
In a way, I'm from a joint family. So I have 2 brother-in-law, 1 sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, of course my husband, my daughter. And I would say that yes, my daughter had to sacrifice sometimes.
Faith, how many children do you have?
Right now we have 42.
And girls and boys?
Girls and boys both.
What is the age group that you have?
From 5 to 18.
Okay.
And now we have made our own building for the boys' home. Girls' home is still rental.
बच्चा आपके पास जहाँ से भी भाई SMS से CWC से जहाँ से भी आता है जिस बच्चे की ज़रूरत है 5 से साल में आपके पास आएंगे और आप उनको ज़िंदगी के उनके 13-14 साल एक माँ की तरह उनकी परवरिश करते हो, हारी बीमारी पढ़ाई लिखाई हर चीज़ की ज़रूरत पूरे करते करते उनको बड़ा करते हैं और 18 साल के बाद सरकार ये कहती है कि अब ये आपका बच्चा नहीं है। कानून है, डेफिनेटली हम सबको फॉलो करना पड़ता है कि नाउ दे आर इंडिपेंडेंट और उनके लिए सरकार के पास कुछ और गाइडलाइंस है जब तक वो अपने पाँव पे नहीं खड़े हो जाते। फेथ के हैं अबव 18 चिल्ड्रन जो इंडिपेंडेंट हो चुके हैं?
काफ़ी सारे।
तो सरकार के लिए तो वो बच्चा बड़ा हो गया है, लेकिन उस बच्चे के लिए तो आप उसकी माँ हैं, तो वो कनेक्ट तो नहीं जाता होगा?
बिल्कुल भी नहीं जाता है कनेक्ट,
ना आपका ना उनका,
बिल्कुल भी नहीं।
तो कैसे भी बच्चे क्या करते हैं, कैसे मिलते रहते हैं आपसे?
जैसे ज़्यादा करके तो वी ट्राइड कि सब बच्चों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिल जाए, उनको कुछ भी स्किल्स सिखा के वी ट्राई टू एम्प्लॉय देम।
जैसे एक एग्जांपल देके आप मुझे बताओ।
जैसे सपोज मैं नाम लेती हूँ कि शुभम है या शिवा है, तो एक ने तो पूरा अपना फोटोग्राफी करा है ना। जैसे गर्ल्स में है तो अनु है, उसको हमने पूरा RS का तैयारी करवाया। अभी आप नहीं मानेंगे, उसने RS प्रीलियम क्लियर किया है।
अरे such a proud moment. You must be such a proud mother.
Certainly. And I feel that I'm a very blessed and yes, God has given me so many children. So I'm very, very happy to have them. And also like they are regular in touch with us.
जैसे आपने मुझे बताया इन बच्चों के बारे में, वो बच्चा जिसकी वजह से आपने ये सब कार्य शुरू करा था, जो आपको रेलवे स्टेशन पे मिला था, वो भी आपके होम का हिस्सा बना गया?
That's a sad part.
नहीं बन पाया? आज वो बच्चा एक तरीके से कारण है कि फेथ के इतने सारे बच्चों के सामने एक भविष्य है।
I would say that that kid really inspired me to do this, and because I know that what that kid went through once he was diagnosed with HIV, nobody wanted to talk to him.
कितने साल का था तब वो?
He was barely 4 years old.
So did you counsel his parents and did you talk to anybody?
He didn't have parents.
Okay, so he was living with
He was living with someone there in the basti itself. Like someone who used to give him food to eat, and he was on his own, kind of a thing. Then yes, I got a little involved with making the home, to establishing the thing. And by the time I went back and I tried to find out about the kid, so he was in a very, very bad shape. And so then I took him to the hospital, and the night when I left him, but yes, I would say there was someone very unknown only who was with him then. And then in the morning I got a call that the kid is no more. So it was very, very painful for me that I was making home for that child only, because I could see a very bright future for him. He was always very happy child. And if he used to do something wrong, if I used to make him stand, he used to he used to listen to me so much that if I forget to tell him that now you sit down, he would just keep standing for hours and hours. So I would say he was a very obedient child. Everything was there. I don't know much about his family and all, because that time I was not more into knowing what's their background and all. I was more
focused on the
just
children.
yes,
And which is important also.
Yeah.
क्योंकि बाकी तो सब उनको माँ बाप और तुम कहाँ से आए से तोलते ही थे ना, कम से कम आप उन बच्चों को उनमें खुद में पूरा देखते थे.
And that time only while I was working for those children, and when I said, no, I took a place where I did a little bowed wiring and all. So there was another kid. He was also, I mean, the kids were so beautiful, so lovely kids. You can't even, it's not easy to express and just say verbally that how those children were. The one fine day when I went, his dead body was lying there, all the like chante makode lag rahe hain pura. The kid is sitting there calmly watching. So I just couldn't see that. I just hugged him. And I wanted to take him at my home. But that time it wasn't registered. So I couldn't take the child in my home. I don't know where he was sent then.
बहुत सारी महिलाएं जो अच्छे अपर मिडिल क्लास परिवारों में पैदा होती हैं, अच्छे पब्लिक स्कूल्स में शिक्षा होती है, अच्छे घरों में शादियां हो जाती हैं, वो ज़िंदगी की इस असलियत से बहुत दूर रहती हैं. मैं उनको किसी तरीके से कम नहीं कह रही, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि आपने इतनी नज़दीकी से दूसरों की तकलीफ़ों को देखा और अपनाया, तभी आज फेथ है और आप इतने सारे बच्चों की माँ हैं और उनको संभाल पाती हैं. Your heart, rather than becoming hardened after watching all this, I think became more emotional and even bigger to take everybody in.
Yes. I wish I could take everyone, each and every child.
HIV को लेकिन ना आप भी इस चीज़ को मानोगे, आपने तो खुद इतने चैलेंजेस फेस किए होंगे बच्चों को अभी नौकरियां दिलवाने में, उससे पहले उनको स्कूल भेजने में.
मैम स्कूल तो मैंने बहुत, आई मीन अराउंड 30 to 40 स्कूल्स विजिट कर रहे होंगे. इनफैक्ट मैंने वो स्कूल्स भी विज़िट करे जो स्लम एरियाज़ में जो बच्चों के लिए चलते हैं. वहाँ भी सब यही बोलते थे दैट द मोमेंट दे यूज्ड टू कम टू नो दैट व्हाट कॉज आई एम वर्किंग, दे यूज्ड टू से वील गेट बैक टू यू, वील डिस्कस विद आवर बोर्ड. और
कुछ होता नहीं था,
कुछ नहीं होता था. देन देयर वाज वन स्कूल इन मालवीय नगर, DPS, Disney Public School. So there was a lady principal there. When I went there first, she also said that, ma'am, I have to speak to the board and all that. Then again I went to her, I requested her. Then again I went to her, I said, ma'am, please, please, please. Then she said, I am also a woman and I can understand what you are going through. So on my risk, I will take these children. And that is how when she took children in, and then it became a pattern that all children started going to that school. No, now they are all in Jagatpura.
आपको क्या लगता है, लोगों के थोड़े ये दिमाग के जाले कुछ साफ हुए हैं या वैसे ही हम लोग अंधेरे में अपनी अपनी ओढ़ के बैठे हुए, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ा?
2005 से तो बहुत चेंज है. और स्पेशली मैं बोलूँगी कि कोरोना के बाद और भी ज़्यादा चेंज है, क्योंकि कोरोना में सब, जैसे कोरोना का कितना हाइप हुआ शुरू में, सिमिलरली HIV का तो अब लोगों को समझ में आने लगा कि ऐसा नहीं है. और फिर कुछ लोग ये भी देखते हैं कि जब ये और इनकी फैमिली और स्टाफ, अब मेरा स्टाफ भी पूरा नॉन पॉजिटिव है, एक भी स्टाफ मेरा पॉजिटिव नहीं है, तो लोग देखते हैं कि जब ये सब दिन रात इनकी सेवा कर रहे हैं और लुक आफ्टर कर रहे हैं. तो लिवजी हॉस्पिटल ने मुझे बहुत अच्छा सपोर्ट दिया और वहाँ डॉक्टर राजीव बंसल का बहुत साथ था. और फिर उसके बाद में मुझे बहुत ही अच्छे पीडियाट्रिशियन मिले, डॉक्टर विवेक. तो डॉक्टर विवेक शर्मा का तो इतना ज़्यादा सपोर्ट है अब कि पूरा कोरोना टाइम जब हम लोग कहीं ले जा नहीं पाते थे डॉक्टर के पास में या कहीं बाहर, डॉक्टर साहब खुद आ जाते थे बच्चों को देखने के लिए. एंड टच वुड, थैंकफुली वी डिड नॉट हैव अ सिंगल चाइल्ड हु गॉट द इन्फेक्शन.
और अभी तो इतना एक जैसे हवा और ये सब हम लोग देखते हुए भी नहीं है. प्लस आई थिंक केसेस भी अब आपको लगता है कम होने लग गए, जैसे पहले बच्चे आते थे और जो केसेस थे, क्या आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा कमी आई है?
थोड़ी कमी आई है, अवेयरनेस से भी काफ़ी कमी आई है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट भी बहुत अच्छे अवेयरनेस के लिए, तो गवर्नमेंट काफ़ी अच्छे प्रोग्राम्स कर रही है.
देखिए, वैसे तो मदरहुड वैसे ही कहते हैं कि 24/7 जॉब है, हम लोगों को तो संडे भी ऑफ नहीं. ठीक है, लेकिन आप भी कभी तो थकते होगे ना, और ये तो अनएंडिंग है. अब ये बच्चा बीमार हो गया, भाई 40 बच्चों में है, अब ये बच्चा बीमार हो गया, उसके स्कूल का ये नहीं है, इसकी फ़ीस का ये चक्कर है, इसको ये चाहिए, वो केयरटेकर छोड़ के चली गई, आज ये खाने का नहीं हो रहा, अनएंडिंग है, कुछ ना कुछ रोज आता होगा, थकते नहीं हो क्या?
नहीं, मैं कहूँगी कि सोशल वर्क अपने आप में एक नशा है। आई डोंट थिंक मैं तो कभी थकी।
एक बार किसी ने कहा था कि हमसे बोला कि भाई आप इतनी मेहनत करने लग रहे हैं और इन बच्चों का आपको पता है ना कि ज़िंदगी बहुत लंबी नहीं होती है। तो बहुत बुरा लगा उस समय पे और मैंने उनको जवाब दिया, मैंने कहा ज़िंदगी लंबी नहीं, अच्छी होनी चाहिए, और ज़िंदगी की गारंटी ना तो आपकी है ना मेरी है। एक चैरिटी होम चलाते हैं तो बहुत सारी जगह जनरल भी होता है, अदरवाइज़ भी लोग कमेंट करते हैं, वी दे फाइंड इट ओपन, अपने बच्चे के लिए नहीं कहेंगे पर ऐसे सोचते हैं कि नहीं यार इसके लिए तो आप बोल सकते हैं ना। आपने भी ऐसा फेस करा कभी?
बिल्कुल, एक्चुअली जब मैंने स्टार्ट ही किया था कुछ साल बाद ही ऐसे सोशल गैदरिंग में लोगों को होता है जस्ट टू शो दैट ओके आई वांट टू सपोर्ट एंड ऐसे, तो मुझे कई लोगों ने बोला कि वी वुड लाइक टू सपोर्ट योर कॉज एंड कम एंड मीट अस एंड ऑल दैट. So I went to one of the very senior IAS officer. I would not like to take his name, but yes, I went to him. He said ki my daughters will live abroad and they like to educate children, and so they would love to fund and all that. He told me all this in the party, and then when I went there and he asked me what cause you are working and all that. So when I told him my cause, he said, "Oh, I don't think that." My daughter would like to fund for these children because she is looking for a long term this thing. So I said, sir, what do you mean by long term? So he said, no, she wants I said, sir, if you and me sitting here right at present, and when we move out of, or maybe on just sitting on the chair, if we
who dictates, who does that?
It's totally like it was shocking for me that an IS talking like this.
True.
And so he said, I'm sorry, I will not be able to fund. And that was the time I decided that okay, I will not go asking for any kind of support, and would do whatever little I can do from my own self. And yes, God has been kind, very kind. He kept supporting me.
Which one child touched your heart the most in all these years?
I would say Suman. Suman was a kid who came to me very sick. She was left in home with lot of different stories by the family, that this is the story, there are no parents and no grandparents and no one and this and that. And her head was full of fungal infection. She was like, if you could just stand next to her. Now if you see her, she's the next to me, she's that motherly figure kid in the home.
I want you to give a message, all of the people who are watching our show today, about how your journey has changed you and how even a single woman can change the future of many.
Don't wait for the right moment, because there is never a right moment. The day you start is the right moment.
स्मृति जी, आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। आज आपने जो दिल से बात करी हम सब से, मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि जैसे फेथ के इन बच्चों की ज़िंदगी आपने बदली है, आज जो बहुत सारे लोगों ने हमारा शो देखा है, कहीं ना कहीं उनकी ज़िंदगी भी बेहतर के लिए आज आप बदल देंगी। थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू सो मच।
HIV छूने से, पास बैठने से, साथ में खाना खाने से, रहने से नहीं फैलता। और जानिए कि किस तरीके से आप अपनी इन मिसकंसेप्शंस को और दूर कर सकते हैं। मैं आपको सच में कहती हूँ, एक बार आइए, मिलिए हमारे बच्चों से, और आप रियलाइज़ करेंगे कि उनकी मुस्कुराहटों में आपका दिल खुशनुमा हो जाएगा। निवान्या आर्ट्स, वंदना चांदना और अनीता हाडा की तरफ से आज के लिए राम राम साहब।